In this video we're going to look at maintenance tasks, including quotes and work orders. This feature allows you to record maintenance tasks against your property. It also allows you to create quotes and work orders to send to your contractors and or suppliers. You also then have the ability to charge the owner as part of completing the task. To access and insert a maintenance task into REI Master, you can do that through the tenants area or through your rental properties. I'm going to do it through my rental property here. I'm going to select this particular property. Under the Tasks and Notes tab here and under the Add New drop-down list, we're going to select a maintenance task. We need to fill in some information on this Maintenance Details tab here. We'll just put this one in as a general electrical maintenance. We can put in here when the maintenance was reported to us, so we've got a date and time showing here, and when the maintenance is due. So we'll put in here that we need to do it within the next week or so, and we can change our start and end date information if we wish to do so. I'm just going to say no on that because we are going to adjust this accordingly. We have a due date there, so with the information that shows from accessing the property from and to, this can be inserted onto an entry notice that you can generate through the report options here. Alternatively, you can have it appear on the quote information or the work order information as to when the tenant would be available to allow a supplier or contractor into the premises there. So I'm just going to change that one here and say that the tenant will be available on the Monday following between 9 a.m. and 12 p.m. What I should also insert in here is some information or more detail about what the maintenance task requires. I'm just going to fill in some information now so we can look further at the quotes and work orders processes. So I've just put in some detail there because this will appear on our quote and work order reports. Complete your information here about the priority or the status of the task itself. Also fill in who the maintenance has been scheduled by or who is going to be supervising or inspecting the information as well. If I save my changes on there, I also then want to look at producing quotes for this particular one here. And in the quotes and work orders tab here, we're going to look at the quote process and then look at the work order process there. So we need to select suppliers that we want to send quotes to. So from the drop down list here, I'll just select 3 of my electrical suppliers that are showing. I want to tick the boxes to process a quote for them, and I'm going to bring one up on the screen that's a printed one here. What I show you as a document here is also a PDF document that can then be emailed to your suppliers as necessary. Alternatively, you can merge to a Word document that you have created for a quote as well. So I select my print quotation request here. It now asks me to determine whether the property is tenanted or vacant, and in doing the tenanted option there, where the keys are collected from, either from the office or the keys with the tenant, and then about how much notice there. So we're going to say here that other is a specified period, please call the tenant, but I'm also going to tick to show the property access date and time as we inserted in that maintenance details tab there. I click OK. It asks us just to confirm the next quote number as necessary. If we need to change it, we click change and adjust, otherwise we click OK. And from here now we've got our quote request up on the screen. So we should have 3 of these to each of the 3 suppliers that we've nominated. Your top information here is your business information. The information here shows, of course, or contact information for the supplier. Requesting a quote for the following maintenance, and we give the property information and the tenant information there. As I scroll down, you'll see the crosses are in the appropriate boxes here about the property being tenanted, the key with the tenant, and also when they can access the property from. So making sure that they call the tenant to arrange entry there. The details of the maintenance, of course, that we insert here, of course, so that they know what they're going to give us a quote on. So the next 2 quote requests that we'll look at using the tab here will be exactly the same, of course, will just be addressed to the other 2 electrical companies that we have nominated there. So our third one there as well, and our quote numbers, of course, will increase as we go. So these can be printed and faxed through to your suppliers. Alternatively, if I close out of here, if we want to, we can email quote requests to our suppliers. We need to do these individually because we can only create the documents to send via email one at a time. So I would select to ABC Electrical Process and then select the email quote request option. In doing so, again, we're asked to tick or put dots in boxes there, and when I click OK, it will go through and send that email to the nominated supplier. Just going to cancel on that one there. For the other two, you would untick and tick that one and go through the same steps, and for the third one, of course, do the same thing there. Importantly, you must have an email address set up on the supplier areas for those particular ones there. Having gone through that process to obtain a quote, you will get the quote information back to your office from the relevant suppliers. You'll then be able to insert the amount that they are going to give you as the quote information there. So as an example, I'm just going to put in a couple of figures here just to insert, so we've got something to show. So in doing so there, you may need to get approval from the owner, of course, for the work to be done, or you may be able to make the decision yourself. I'll leave that entirely up to you. In doing so, you will then able to nominate the successful supplier, and in here we might just nominate that CC Electrics is the one to do so, and by putting the dot there, it actually fills in the information for the approved supplier in the work order process at the top here, and also the amount. So the next step, of course, is to print a work order or send a work order through to that particular supplier to engage the work to be done. Again, I'll just show you one on the screen there. Again, when we click the print work order, we're asked to confirm the entry ability for it there. So just double check and make sure that's still correct or adjust it as necessary. And also then insert who has authorized the work to be completed. So again, this is a list of the users who are nominated in REI Master. When I click OK, again we're asked to confirm a work order number. We can change that, or we can say OK as necessary. This one here is now a work order. Again, you've got information for your business at the top, who it's addressed to, and then obviously RE, a quote that we requested from them earlier. If we look down again, contact information and address information for the tenancy. And if we look down there, we can see again access of the property, the details of the maintenance, and then who's been authorized and the amount to be charged, of course. So again, that can be printed and faxed. Alternatively, that same PDF document can be emailed through to your supplier as well. Again, I'm just going to save my changes there. The next step that would occur, of course, once the work has been completed, is that you potentially receive an invoice from your supplier or contractor, and in the third tab here we can go through and charge the owner for the particular work done. So the charge process here is you can credit the supplier, i.e. taking money off the owner to the supplier, or you can credit the business depending on how you pay your suppliers. Put a description in here. I would suggest using any invoice numbers that might be available, of course, and we can put in there just a brief description of the work done. The amount can be inserted there. Our approved amount was $265. The actual invoice, of course, may be more or less than that depending on what work was done. We will put in as the $265 amount there. That does include GST, of course, and our expense code shows alongside there. We can deduct an additional fee if you have the ability to do so, and if you do, it can either be a fixed amount here, or you can apply a percentage deduction as necessary. If I put in the 10% there, if I just say apply a percentage charge, you'll see it'll be 10% of the total amount of the invoice there. Just going to remove that there. The other option that we have, of course, is to link a copy of the invoice to be sent to the owner with their next statement. In order to do that, we click on the Add Link Document option here, and we go through those steps there. Please see our document management video, which is also available for you to view on how to link documents to charges that you apply. From there, once you've completed the detail, you'll go through the steps of saving the charge, and in this one here, it's asking us to approve or check that we're about to save an invoice or a charge for $265 to the owner's account. If I say yes on there, in my case here, I'm getting that there's insufficient funds available. I do want to still apply this charge, of course, because I want to make sure that the owner is charged when funds are available, so I do want to record this as a pending transaction. We also now have the ability to change the status of the task to complete if we wish to do so. Seeing as that maintenance has now been repaired, we can say yes. and we can then save and close. We can also set the status of any of our linked tasks or notes there to complete as well if we wish to do so, and I'll just say yes on that one. So we now have a maintenance record showing in the system there as completed, and if I have a look there, I can still access all the information that I need to, still show all the information for the work order and also the charge that was applied to the owner as necessary. So in the system there, we've looked at how to insert a maintenance task, and we've gone through the steps of issuing quotes and work orders and then applying a charge to the owner in order to complete the task itself.